does is that we have a government shutdown. The government and the government offices will be shut down, and only essential personnel will be working in the government of Puerto Rico. So the great majority of the government employees will be in their homes working by telephone or computer, and only who has some essential tasks as law enforcement agencies here in the Port Authority, then they can work in the physical way. But those who are not essential personnel must remain and work in home. The third thing that this executive order does is that also we're going to have a commerce shutdown. The great majority of theaters, bars, restaurants must remain closed, and only the executive order says that that we're going to have a couple of commerce that will not going to apply this executive order, as pharmacies, gasoline station, supermarkets, banks, and some commerce in the distributed exchange. But besides that, those exceptions, all the commerce activity must shut down in Puerto Rico.
Can I ask you a question right there?
Yes, of course.
Can you specifically read from that paragraph? Because there's been a lot of confusion. I've heard from business owners who have said, David, does this mean I have to close? And some places are saying they heard that they have to close their restaurant where people sit, but they can still do takeout and delivery. What does the order say specifically?
Yes, I have it here in Spanish, so I'm going to make a translation. It says that the government ordered a lockdown in all commerce in Puerto Rico from March 15 at 6 p.m. until March 30, 2020, but with exception to those commerce that dedicate to the selling of food, and they were going to be able only to do it through the carry-out or delivery system. If you want to sell food in Puerto Rico, you can do it, but you need to do it through a carry-out or delivery system. It's not going to. This executive order forbid that you receive people to eat at your table, to have a space in your restaurants. You only can sell food through carry-out or delivery systems. Also, a commerce and some stores that sells medicines, medical equipment, pharmacies, supermarket, gasoline stations, financial institutions, some places that take care of the elderly people they can remain open and provide their services. That is the fourth section. And David, I have information that from tonight, maybe 9 p.m., we're going to have the translation of this executive order. So I'm going to send it to you so you can have it and you can share with all the English-speaking persons in the audience.
I appreciate that. Okay, is there any more to the executive order?
Yes, the section 5 of the executive ordinance underscore that these activities must remain closed. So and those activities are the movies, cinemas, dancing places, concerts, theaters, casinos, gyms, bars, and all activity or event that have those same characteristics that have the potential to accommodate a great variety of groups. Those places must be closed until March 30, 2020. The section 6 of this executive order says that you are going to have a curfew, a mandatory curfew between 9 p.m. to 8 a.m.
6 a.m.
I have here a.m. mandatory curfew. After that,
wait. I'm confused. You said 9 p.m. until
8 a.m. in the morning.
8 a.m.
Pardon, 5 a.m. in the morning. 5 a.m. Yes, okay. Sorry, David.
So
yes.
9 p.m. to 5
a.m. That's
Understood.
correct. That's
Understood.
correct. So this is a mandatory curfew.
Okay.
But in the rest of the day, between 5 a.m. to the 9 p.m. of the other day, the people must remain in home also during the day.
Wow.
And exception, yes, this is a very, very, very.
That's very important. I'm glad you're pointing this out because
yes.
people were confused. They thought after 5 a.m. that meant they could go about their normal day.
No, I don't want to be here very dramatic, but this is a lockdown that the government is imposing to try to avoid a scenario that is happening right now in Spain or Italy.
Yes.
So we are doing those measures right now. So during the day, you're supposed to be in your home, in your hotel, in your apartment, not get out, and only this kind of activity it must allow during the day. I'm going to read it for you. The activities that the people can do during the day. The people can go to the supermarkets. The people can go to buy some pharmaceutical products. They can go to medical appointments. They can assist to hospitals, laboratories. They can go to work if you are an essential worker, or you are the type of work that is not forbidden. Then you can go work during the day if your work is not part of those work that are forbidden to do. Then also during the day you are allowed to transit in the roads to go back to home after you finish those kinds of activities. You can go to financial institutions if you want. But those are the exceptions to do during the day, because the majority of the commerce will be closed. And so we're going to have a mandatory curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And during the day, it's supposed to the people to be in your homes. The departments only do these kind of specific tasks during the day. The Section 7 of their executive order says that this executive of this curfew will be also to March 30, 2020. But if you have an employee that is described in this Section 7, you are excluded from the curfew. So we have some exceptions for the curfew.
Who?
And those exceptions are those employees who are described as essential in the government or in the federal government, health professionals, first employees who work in hospitals, employees who work in pharmaceuticals, in health centers, those who work in ports and airports, and those who work in the manufacturing sector, but not all kind of manufacture. Only those manufacturers that needs to be with food and with medical devices. Call centers, all who works in call centers, and those who work with utilities or in critical infrastructure as the electrical energy and the water supplies. Those persons will be allowed to transit the public roads to go to the works and go back, and those curfews, they're all going to apply to them, so they can do these all things after 9 p.m. in the morning. Only those persons will be allowed to go outside after 9 p.m. in the morning.
You mean after 5 a.m. in the morning? After 5 a.m. in the morning.
After 5 a.m. you have all exactly. But if
Right.
if you have a work that is described here as a section of the curfew, you can do it also in the night.
Anytime. Right.
Exactly.
Anytime.
So
Understood.
the curfew only to work.
Yep.
Only for work purposes, the curfew will not going to apply to you.
Understood.
The executive order also established some kind of penalty for those who violate the executive order. The penalty is that they can impose you a fine of $5,000. You can go to jail to 6 months, and at discretion of the judge, they can put you those two penalties at the same time.
Understood. I really appreciate you doing this for us.
No, it's a pleasure, David. And as I said,